Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is our first Blinkist Creative Talk. And I just wanted to give a small intro about why we're doing this. My name is Sheyda. I am a graphic designer at the Creative Circle at Blinkist. We are currently 7 people in the Creative Circle, but we work also with a bunch of freelancers from all around the world. I think we have around 12 freelancers on a regular basis that we work with regularly. And we also work in Slack these days, I think, like most people. And we love to be constantly inspired. We keep like sending each other inspiration from other designers, typographers, illustrators. And we thought it would be such a great idea to hear directly from these people who inspire us about what inspires them, how they do their work, and give some actionable advice to us as well. So this is how the Creative Talks started. So our first guest is Andrés Higueros. He is the art director of Futura. Futura is a very successful branding agency based in Mexico City. So if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely do so. But he also works as a freelancer on typography projects. So this is something that he's going to be talking to us about today. If you have any questions during the talk, you can just write them in the chat, and Andrés will answer them by the end. So yeah, again, thank you so much. And with that, I leave the stage to Andrés.
Thank you so much, Sheyda. So hello guys, nice to meet you. I'm going to share my screen and let me know when you can see it, please.
Yep, we can see.
Perfect. Great. So hello everyone. Firstly, I want to thank you to the Blinkist design team for the invitation. I am so happy to be here and be the first on these creative talks. And I think we are going to have a great time learning about the typography. And yeah, so for those who don't know me, my name is Andrés Higueros. I am art director, graphic, and type designer. I am from Guatemala, and right now I'm living in Mexico City since 4 years ago. Currently, I am art director at Futura. It's a branding studio based here in Mexico City. As you know, this talk is about the typography, so I want to show you some works that I have done in my professional career, just to show you a little bit of my work. So basically, my work is focused on branding, editorial, and typography design, obviously. And this is typography that I create that is called EH Forastero. I had the opportunity to work on this project for a handmade candles brand here in Mexico City. And basically, this is just a sneak peek of this typography set. So yes, I really like to I don't know, like one of my kind of work is to give a unique personality to my work. So I really like to play a lot with shapes, with different forms that help me to experiment a little bit with the characters. So for example, here you can see this kind of characters that has unique details, just to create I don't know, like to tell a different way the story of the brand. So here is the how they apply the typography into the brand. So you can see is applying in the name of the candle, and I really like, and it was a project that I really enjoy to create the typography. As I told you before, I am a person who likes a lot to experiment with the shapes and create something different that is seen in the market. So this is another typography that I have done that is called AH vertebra. And basically it's a typography, it's a display typography. I'm going to explain you in the next slides what is a display typography. But yes, in this case, I wanted to have something very bold, very unique, something that you want to to use in a headline, in a big text, and this is the result. Like, I really like to play with, as I told you, with shapes, with the different forms here, just to create something that is very pleasant to see. Galadan is another typography design that I am working on. For this is a big challenge because I am working in a big set of the styles of the typography. So I am working in the light, in the regular bold, extra bold version, and something that I keep working on that. And basically, this is just just to show you a couple example of my work with this. I just want to show you this. This is another. This is very. I don't know. Like, this is my first typography, and I think it is the first project that opened me to this typography work. And this typography is called Blank. And I created this typography in a workshop in Guatemala, and I really have a great time working on this because it was my I don't know, when I created this typography, it was unbelievable to me to see that I created all the set of the letters. Something that maybe we can see in the internet, like when you are looking for typographies, but when you can see that you are able to create these typographies by your own, it's a very unique feeling. And this, I think I have a lot of love, and I appreciate a lot this typography because as I told you, this opened the door to this typography word creation. And yes, so here I wanted to again to create something very unique. Something that I really like to do in my works is to give this uniqueness and something different to the personality of the characters or the logos or something like or something else. So here I wanted to play with a very big serif that feels very sharp. And also you can see that the way that I am trying to communicate and expose the letters are very different of what we are very used to see in other typography sets. So this is just a visualization of how we can use this typography in some applications. And then also, since I started exploring this typography world, I started applying this to the branding, also to my branding projects. So I don't know, like, I really like to propose to my clients to design by my own the typography for the logo. So for example, this one is a project that I'm working on right now for an artist in the United States that is called Bossy, and I was in charge to create her brand identity as an artist, and I created the typography for her logo. And we wanted to have something very that put together two different eras, something very vintage, but it feels very modern. And this is the reason that we take inspiration for the avant-garde trend for this logo. And it's something that very unique to when you start proposing to the client this logo, custom logo, because in some way it gives you this plus as a professional, and something that I am starting doing with my own freelance projects. So this is an example of that. This is another project that I am working on. It's an restaurant in Monterrey, here in Mexico, and it's called Vernaculo. And I designed the typography for their logo. And this restaurant basically they want to sell and they want to sell an experience of I don't know if you know what vernacular means, but vernacular means embrace your roots. And so we wanted to have something very I don't in some way very that feels very native in some way. So we wanted to create this kind of characters that feels very imperfect, but in some way it feels that it is designed, you know. And this logo is inspired in the lettering art that is very common in Mexico. So we wanted to play with the different version of the logo. So this is just a gift that we created to present the logo. This is just a visualization of how the logo, the custom logo works in some kind of applications. But yes, in my I really like to, as I told you before, I really like to explore these new ideas to design the custom logos. And I think in that way we give something unique to the brand, and it's something I really like. And this, yes, I think in that way we can create better brands. Blob is another project that I was in charge in Futura. It's a design and culture festival that was in Mexico City, in Barcelona, and in Argentina. And I was in charge to create the logo, all the logo typography, and also the graphic design for all the festival. So as you know, the goal with this and the challenge was to transmit to the people that in this design festival you are going to see a lot of different disciplines together in this festival. So the way that we resolved this was to create different set of letters and characters that help us to give this dynamic feel to the festival and the all the graph universe that we created for Blob. So I was in charge to create all these characters just to create just to create some kind of dynamic feel into the festival. So this is a visualization of how is the final result of that. I think I know that I am talking to pass about my price, but I don't want to take too much time in here because we have a lot to talk about after this. But yes, I just want to show you this. It works just to know me better. This is another project that I was in charge in Futura. It's called Ula Sayula. It's a restaurant bar in Sayulita. That Sayulita is a beach here. So here the concept of Ula Sayula, we wanted to create a typography that it feels that it's like is melting because the sun. So there's the reason that we decided to play with these very bold letters and with this less space between the letters, just to create this feeling that is what if you stay a lot of time under the sun, and what is the effects of that. So we decided to create this typography that is melting basically. And then just to finalize this first part of the presentation, there is another project that I designed in Futura that is called Masa Masa. It's a bakery, a bakery here in Monterrey, and I designed also the logotype for this project. So basically, we wanted to have something very with a lot of movement in the characters that feels like a bread dough, you know. And this is just to the kind of inspiration of how we got the solution for Masa Masa. And so again, we wanted to explore a lot with the concept of the brand and create something unique for the logo. So I really enjoy this kind of projects because In this kind of project, we merge my two favorite parts of the graphic design, that is the conceptual part and the typography design. So I really like to merge the two ideas and create something different for the brands. Yes, but that is all. That was my introduction of myself, just for you to know me better. And right now I want to start with the talk. This talk is called "Let's Have Some Type Talk," and basically I want to explain you how, in a very resume way, how we can create our first typography. But before jumping to that part, I want to introduce a little bit about the story of the typography and also other terms that I think are essential for the typography creation. So I want to start with the story. Again, in a very resume way, because I know that I don't have a lot of time, but I think it's very important to you to understand how the typographies are classified and how the typographies has transformed over the time. So the typography are based on historical established concepts such as calligraphic techniques, classifications, or concept focused on traditional uses. So as I mentioned, right now, this is very important to know how, because the calligraphic techniques and the classification, the typography has transformed over the time. So right now, I just want to show you some example of some classic typographies and how this classic typography gave us a lot of parameters that right now is very common to see in a lot of typographies. So the oldest typeface were called black letters that are before this this one that I am showing you right now, and it was in the 40s. So after, the typographies were made by hand. So there's the reason that in the past were inspired in the calligraphic art. So as you can see, this typography is one of the most classic ones. It's called Jensen Pro, created in the 40s. It's a humanistic serif typeface. And as you know, as I told you, this typography was designed by hand. So that is why this typeface was some certain contrasts and some angles that respect the way it is drawn with the pen. So I wanted to show you this analysis of the typography. So you can see here how the evolution of the typography. So you can see the different angles that have some characters has, because you know, the pen, when you are drawing the letters by pen, it creates these different angles in each letter. So for example, you can see the letter E, the crossbar of the letter E is in a different angle, and this kind of angle transmit a lot of the year that was created. Also, the angle of the letter O, as you can see, the inner corner of the letter O is in a very angle to the left. And again, this is just a very common style that a lot of typographies has. But in this case, tell us about the moment that that was created. So yes, this another is also the letter A has a lot of this kind of contrast, and you can see also in the letter D how I put these two dots in color red just to show you how the contrast will be changing over the years. So this is just to show the different classifications. This is a humanistic story because it's inspired in the handwriting calligraphy. And then after 20 years after, start the old style serifs start burning. And as you can see here, we can start looking some details in the letters that feels more modern. For example, the angle in the letter E, the crossbar that was in a different angle. Here we can't see that anymore, and we can start looking the crossbar in a horizontal way. So in that way, the appearance of the typography start changing, and here we can see a very natural evolution of the typographies. Just give me a second, please. Yeah, so as you can see also the letter O, the angle of the letter O change. And the reason that these details start changing is because, as you can see, the technology also of how the typographies were created start changing, you know. So we can see also how the angles start changing here, and also the contrast. And this is the reason that they start burning these classifications of the typographies. Then, as you can see here, they started exploring a lot of different ways to draw the typographies, the different position of the pen, different positions of the type blocks in the printer systems. And in the 90s, we can see that the modern serif start burning. And the different thing that we can see between the old style serif and the modern serif is the way of the terminations of the typography. So, for example, here in Garamond, we can see that the serif has a different angle, and this the reason that it has this angle is because the position of the pen when they start drawing the character. And in this example, that is typography that is called the dot, the position of the pen is in a vertical position. So you can see the serif instead having this angle start up looking with this horizontal serif that gives something more modern in some way, something more fashion. So in this modern serif start boarding in the fashion era, and it's something that they start using for a lot of fashion brands start using this to their own brand identities. And also you can see here the letter O, that the inner corner is completely vertical. Is not they delete completely the angle of the letter O. And then after the 90s, the slab series start burning here, and this is after the industry era, and the new and then start appearing new print technologies. So they start like standardizing some details on the typography. As you can see here, the serif of the typography start being more bold in some way, and in that way we can see that it's a complete new era for the typographies. So this is just an example of how the contrast. You can see the letter D here, for example, in the dot, they have a lot of contrast between the curve, and then here is more solid the shape of the letters. And then after the years, we start the typography start changing because the technologies and the industry era and a lot of other historical events that that occur in that years. But I don't want to be too deeper in that part. I just want to show you the different styles of the typographies. So basically here, this is the first geometric sans serif, and as you can see, they delete completely the serif, the different terminations. So you can see here that is a more solid typography, more geometric, with less contrast, and it feels in some way modern. And yes, in some way, it told us about a completely different era that is more to help to the. This typography helps to the reading conversation, you know. So basically, this is one kind of the reasons that they changed they start changing the typography styles. And Futura is another great example of the geometric sans typography. And then in the 90s, 20s, they start appearing in humanistic sans serif. So in that way, you can see that here is a geometric typography, and the reason that it's called geometric typography is because the letters are created are using the geometric shapes to create the typographies. And this is the reason the letter E and the letter A are it's very obviously that they use the circle as the base to create this typography. And the different thing that with the humanistic sans serif is that they try to match the serif that I was told you in the past with this new aesthetic. So you can see here the letter A change, and also the contrast have a lot. You can see here the contrast between the Futura and the Yield Sans is changing a little bit, but you can see the letter E, for example, here, the stroke is more solid, and in Yield Sans, for example, it have a little changes in the contrast. So in that way, they are trying to match the idea that other typographies like Garamond has. So in that way, we can have this new humanistic sans serif. And then you can see, Helvetica is a very common typography. It's a neo-grotesque sans serif, and basically here is after the industry era, and a lot of brands start using this kind of typography. So basically, this is another style that they created just to have this in this era, you know. And so you can see here also how they are using like the geometric shapes, but they change it a little bit with and mix this with the humanistic part that the other typographies give us as elements. So this is just an idea and show you how the typography has transformed over time, just to show you some elements that are very important, as the angles and the terminations, the ways, the contrast that the characters has. And it's very important to know all this, because when you are going to start designing your own typography, you need to know which style you want to give to your typography. So in the previous slides, I was talking about the classifications. That is basically the humanistic, the Slav, the geometric, the neo-grotesque, the Slav typographies. But there is two big type styles that englobes all these classifications, and that is we can find the script and display typographies. And this is very important also to understand, because not all the typographies are, for example, we can find a geometric sans serif that are script typographies, and we can find a geometric sans serif typography that are display typographies. And basically, a script and display typography And the script are designed specifically for full text, helping to the reading comprehension. And this classification includes serif fonts. So basically, there's the scripts styles are the typographies that help you to have a good reading, and it's too common to use this in books, for example. And the reason that these typographies are created with that goal to help to the reading comprehension. And then the displays are typographies with special details that are used especially for headlines or big text. So basically the displays are those typographies that you can find on the internet that are like some experimentals, that if you use this typography in a very small space or in a very small size, we can lose some words. And this is the reason that are called display, because this typography is used to use in a big way, or in headlines or for a newspaper or something like that. So here I want to show you two examples. For example, Janon is a modern serif, and as you can see, it's a very common serif. And this because the serif that this typography has, it helps to the reading conversation, because as you can see, the horizontal serif creates, when you put a lot of lines with this typography, it creates it helps you to read to the left, to the right. And basically this is the reason that it called script, and is helping to the reading comprehension. And then in the other side, we have the Manuka. The Manuka is from Clean Type, and it's a slab serif. As you can see, it has a lot of details in the characters, and the space between the letters is very close. So basically here, this typography, if you put this typography in a paragraph with I don't know, with 20 lines, maybe you are going to lose you're going to lose the information that you want to put in that part. So basically, Manuka is created to use this for headlines, or for a poster, or for a billboard, or something like that. So this is just another kind of styles that you can find a lot of the other classifications, but you need to know what will be the objective of the typography you're going to create. For example, I show you some a couple of my work, and for example, vertebra is a display typography that you can use that typography in a small text. And then we can find different other classification of the typographies. I know that there's a lot of information of this. I just want to be very straightforward with this. But for example, we can find other styles that basically is, we can find a static typography and variable typography. That is a new concept that is right now we are using in these years. So for example, the static typography is a typography that we are very common, that we have used it before. That basically we can find different styles of weight of the typography. So for example, we have times light, times italic light, times semi-bold, semi-bold italic, etc., etc. So the way that it's called static because you can in a file, you can have all these styles in a separate way. So if you want to use the semi-bold italic, you need to pick the semi-bold italic, and that is all. For the other part, we are having this new concept that is typography variables, and basically the idea of these typography variables is that you can in one style you can have a lot of different elements in the typography. So for example, this is a typography that I designed. I'm going to explain you in the next words about this typography. But for example, here I have two styles, and I have I can change and I can play with this variable typography just to transform it to in another a complete typography. And this is the different things between the static and a variable typography. And then that is very important to understand also the anatomy of the typography. And this is a very crazy thing, because I remember when I was in my first day on the university, and my first class was typography, and and I remember that the teacher in the moment explained us the anatomy of the typography. And I don't know, like for me was so amazing to see that the typography is like a person, you know, like it has their own parts, they has their own personality, and it made me, I don't know, felt in love of the typography in that moment. So it's very important to you to also to understand how the characters on each character of the typography is willed, you know. So you can see here the bar, the open corner, the stem, the inner corner, the ear, the loop, the teardrop terminal, the descendant, ascender. Basically, the descender is the bottom part of the letter P, and the ascender is the bar that is in the top of the letter H. And then we can have the serif, that is something that I was told you before. Yeah, so this is just there is a lot of other parts of the typography, the anatomy of the typography, but this is just kind of the essential ones. So yeah, so this was just my kind of introduction of the styles, the classifications, the different typography, yes, like sorry, groups that you can find in this typography world. But right now I am going to show you and share with you some tips if you want to design some typeface. So yeah, so I think I mean, the typography creation is something that you need to know that is it takes a lot of time, the typography. So you need to have time to work on that. For example, the typography that I show you, it took me like 1 year to finish and end the typographies. And because it has a lot of steps, and you need to test the typography, you need to print and make a printing test, you need to review all the space between the letters, and something that I'm going to explain you right now. And there is a lot of there's a lot of steps in the process, but I'm going to show you here some like essentials essential points that I think are very important to you to know to if you want to start designing typography. So the first one is to find the concept and the style, and this is very important because, as you know, and also in other graphic projects, you need to know and what you are going to do. So for example, it's the same as in the branding. For example, you need to create a concept, you need to create a style and aesthetic that you want to portray in a brand in the brand proposal. In the typography, the same. You need to define the concept, what you want to transmit with the typography, and which style the typography will have, you know. And it will be a serif typography, it will be a slab typography, it will be a display typography, or I want to create a typography that I want to use in a book, for example. So I am going to need to create a typography that has a lot of characters and symbols, and it will be able to to use in different languages, for example. So you need to define that at the beginning because it will be very important, and we will help you in the process. So it is very important to you to define that, and then after you start. You have your concept, and you have the style that you want to express with your typography. You can start the sketching part, and this is very tricky because we are not we are not used to sketch letters, and it's very difficult in some way to do it because yes, it's very difficult to draw letters. But I think in the way that you are practicing a lot of this, you are going to see how your eye and your skills start focusing more in this to create letters. So in this sketching is the most important part, I think, of the process in like the other graphic process. So you need to take a lot of time in this sketch part. So here, as I understand, and I learned about another typography designers, is that you always start sketching the letter N, and maybe you are asking yourself why the letter N. And the letter we started designing the letter N because the letter N give us a lot of information that will be very useful to the full typography. Information like, I don't know, the weight of the letter of the each character, the style of the serif, or even if it will not have serif. We can find here some other parameters like the contrast that we are going to find in the other letters too, also, and also the shape of the curve. And this is the reason that we started always designing with the letter N. And the reason also is because when you have the letter N designed as you want, you can use the letter N as a base to create the other letters. For example, with the letter N, you can create the letter H. You just need to move the bar to the top, to the ascender line, and then with the N, you can also have the letter M, and also there are some other parameters with using the letter N to using in the letter B and the letter D. So this is the reason that we always start with the letter N. I think it's very helpful. It gives you a lot of information, and the most important part, that the letter N give you the style that you will have in your entire family. So this is the reason. And then after you start, when you have the letter N as you want, you need to other letters that the typography designer recommends is to create the O, the V, and the A, and create this word that is Nova. And the reason that we decided to go with these letters is because also as the same with the letter N, the letter O, B, and A give us a lot of information that it will help us to reply in other letters. So for example, here you can see how the contrast is we reply the contrast in the different letters just to create a family set of characters. And for example, for the letter O, if we have the contrast in the letter N, for example, in the curve, you can see how it's the same in the letter O. You know, like the contrast, we can have this more wave in the size and more tight in the back, in the top and the bottom, and as the same in the letter A. So when we have these 4 letters, we can start creating the other set of letters. For example, we can use the letter O to create the letter C, and the letter E, for example. We can use the letter B to create the double B or the Y. And the letter A have a lot of information that we can use to use in the, you are going to see, but we can use this in the letter R, in the T, in the F, in the G. It depends of the style, obviously, of what you're looking for. But it's just some tips that I can recommend to you when you are starting with designing a typography. So basically, just an example of a typography that I designed. The different stages that I did. So you can see I have a lot of because I was not sure about the style that I wanted. So I started like doing a lot of the letter N's, and then when I really like one N, I started like replying the style in the O and the B and the A, just to visualize how it could look in the as a family. So I started like doing this exploration of a lot of letters, and then I decided to go with two, because in this case I want to show you this variable typography that I created. So I choose these two typographies because in this project that I was working, I wanted to have a typography that express two different eras. So I wanted to have something very traditional with this serif style. But on the other hand, I wanted to have something more experimental, something something more unique in some way in the typography, that just to put together two eras in a typography. So this is the reason that the variable font has these drastic changes in the letters. So this is just the two typographies, my sketches of the letters. So you can see here, I started with the letter N, and the elements of the letter N, I started to replying it to the other characters. So you can see the letter B, for example. I tried to respect this horizontal serif, and also the letter A. I wanted to respect the way that the same kind of weight, and also in the letter O. And in the other side, we have this more experimental typography that has this more bold and weight serif. And in some way I wanted to play with that kind of crazy typography. And you can see also how I reply the style of the N in the O, the B, and the A. And then I'm going to jump to the digitalization. This topic is very a big topic. I'm not going to go deeper in that part, because it will be, I don't know, for another talk. But there's a lot of softwares that help you to the typography creation. And the one that I use is Glyphs. That is, I think, it's the more common one in this industry. And the reason that I really love Glyphs, because Glyphs gives you, it's a software specifically for the type creation, and it gives you a lot of elements and tools that help you to design in a clean way the letters. So this is the reason that I recommend working with Glyphs instead, I don't know, Illustrator or other kind of design applications. So here's just an example of how I translate this first one, the letter N, to the application. So you can see here, I start like respecting the different constructs and sizes that I established in the sketch part. And then I complete the the complete typographic. I mean the complete words that was Nova. And so here for example, when we see the final, for example, the final version in the digital in the program, it helps you a lot to understand how you are defining all the style of the letters. So for example, as I was told you before, I try to respect some details in the letters in the letters. For example, the letter N, the way that the serif in the top side, in the left side, you can see that I reply that style in the bottom side of the letter A. So in that way, I am trying to put together all this style, and in that way we are creating a family and a unique style in the entire typography. So it's very important when you are going to start making the digitalization part of the project, that making sure that you are applying the style into the other letters just to create this cohesive style in the typography. So as I'll tell you before, you can see here how these base letters help me to create the other ones. So for example, I use the letter N to create the letter H. Also, the curve of the letter N helped me to understand, to create a merge with the N and the O to create the letter B and the letter D, for example. And we have the letter M also in this part. And the letter O helped me a lot. I also to create other characters. So you can see I use the letter O to create the letter C, the letter E, the letter P, the letter Q. So this is the reason that is very important to define all the style in these 4 letters. You can see here also the letter B give me a lot of base to create the W, the X, the Y. And the letter A, for example, I took the base of the letter A to create this cohesive style in some letters. For example, the determination of the letter R respects the same style determination of the letter A, and also the determination of the letter F and the determination of the G and the So basically, there's the reason again that why these 4 letters help a lot to create to create a typography, because in that letters you can find a lot of information that you can reply in other letters just to create a more solid typography set. So this is the complete set in uppercase. So you can see using this N, O, B, and A, we can create this family that feels the same typography style. Also, the letter F, for example, has a lot of information that the letter A gives us. So yes, it's just a visualization of that. And then one of the other that is very important is the spacing and testing. When you are designing a typography, you need to know that the space between the letters will not be setting. So you need to there is I'm going to show you right now that the typography creation is something very visual, and you need to have this visual how I say, like I am forgetting the word, but you need to put a lot the attention to the details, and it's it's a very optical work, you know, like there is the same process that for a typography is a very different process for another typography, because the style of the typography you are defining, it will affect you in the space, for example, in the way that you are setting the typography. So the spacing is something very important also if you have a very wide serif, you need to work a lot in the space between the letters. But if you create a sans serif typography, the space between the letters will be different. So it's something that you need to take mind, and also doing a lot of testing, printing tests. I recommend to print your typography and see the typography in paper. It helps you to a lot to see if everything is going good. So this is just a very common like tool, or yes, like tip that I can give you. With the letters that you create as the letter N and the O, you need to type this word N, and the reason that we use this tip is because as you already know, with the letter N, we use the letter N for as a base for other characters, and as the same for the letter O. So basically, when we need to set the space between the N's, and between the N and the O, and between the O and the O, and between O and N. So basically, this just kind of you can set this space in the software that I was mentioned before. But basically, the idea is that the white space, the negative space between the letters, needs to feel balanced between the characters. So basically, here is just the negative space. So all all that is in black needs to be balanced between the characters. In that way, it's because this is the reason that I was told you that it's very optical. You need to be very put a lot of attention in that part, and because if you, for example, if you put a lot of space between the letter N's, maybe between the letter M's, you will have a lot of space. So you need to put attention on all of that, and in that way, you you need to start like making a lot of tests. And for example, maybe in the letter O, we have 20 points between the N and the O, but we have between the two O's, we have 10 points, for example. And it helps these values that you are going to have in that part. It helps you to use it in the other letters, for example. So as we use the letter O as a base for the letter C, for example, if we put a letter O closer to the letter C, we can use the same value of the space between the two O's. I don't know if I am explaining good myself, but it's a very yes, it's a very particular process that you need to know how to do it in that part. And yeah, so this is the final result of the typography. As I was told you before, it's a variable typography. So I really want to have these two contrast between the letters, and this is the final result that I create. And yes, I wanted to have this something very as how I say, very traditional in one side, and then we the profit transform into a very experimental one. But I really like how the final result, and I wanted to show you this typography that I didn't finish this yet, because I need to start working in the uppercase typographies. But there is a lot of other process that I need to do in that part. So I just wanted to show you some tips that will that a very resume tips of how you can explore this typography exploration if you want to start exploring that part. And yes, export and enjoy. You can export the typography and start doing a lot of tests and print all the typographies that you want to all the posters, something like that. So it's a very resume way to create a typography. I wish to have a lot of time to explain more all of this, but I hope you could understand my points here. And there is a lot of books that I recommend that help me a lot of to understand how to create a typography. So for example, this one that is how to design a typography from Karen Chang is one of my favorite one, because this book explains you how to design letter per letter, and how you can define the style, how you can define the space. And also this book explains you how to design also the signs, the numbers, and all the symbols that you want to create the typography. And then there are other books like Thinking with Type, how to design a type, that also give a lot of information of the story or some bases that you can take on mind for the typography creation. Yes, that is all. That is all my talk that I have for you today, and I hope you enjoy it. And this is my website, andreshigueros.com, and my Instagram is andreshigueros, Andrés.Higueros. So thank you so much for your time.
Yay, thank you so much, Andres. That was amazing. Super interesting. I didn't know many of those things, so that was great. I think there are not many, I mean, there aren't any questions in the chat. So if anyone has any last question that they wanna ask, they can write it now. I have like one quick question. For example, when you finish a typography, what happens after, like with the licensing and selling a typography? Are there like specific websites where you can sell your typography, and how does that work?
Yes, there is a specific like type foundries that help you as a beginner. For example, if you want to sell a typography in a platform, there is a very popular one that is called Future Fonts. And Future Fonts basically gives you the platform to expand your typography, even that is the typography maybe is not finished complete yet, but you can upload your typography there. Obviously, you need to send an email, and you need to you need to explain the project, blah blah blah. But in that platform, I think it's a very good web that help you to start selling your typography if you want to start in this industry. Yes, and about lessons, I think there is a lot of I don't have right now the website, but it's a website that gives you all the parameters that you need to have to register your typography if you want to have the official license. But yes, I can share with you that, and after the conference.
Cool, thank you. G said, not a question, but I just wanted to say that I really admire your work. It's a side of design that I haven't explored, and I had never heard of such. I had never heard it in such a depth. So interesting.
Thank you so much.
Cool, thank you so much. So I think we're a bit over time, and
yeah, I know, sorry.
no worries. Not at all. It was super interesting. But yeah, cool, thank you. If no one else has any questions, then I think we can end it here.